Hey guys, this is Eric from Mindful Trader. This video is about position sizing, one of my favorite topics. Before we get to that though, I want to encourage you to read the disclaimer before you watch the video. I have the URL right there. You can just punch it into your web browser. And it's helpful to read it. Actually, it's not just some legal mumbo jumbo. It's me trying to convey exactly what it is that I'm offering at Mindful Trader and what the limitations are of it. Okay, so go check that out. Pause the video if you need to go check it out. And now let's get on to position sizing. So this is an exciting thing for me because I use a compound position sizing approach. And so this is important. In back tests that I ran, and I've reported the results of those back tests on the Mindful Trader website, I incorporated a compound position sizing approach in those back tests. And that's important. What is a compound position sizing approach? It means that when I make a trade, if there is a profit, I incorporate that profit into how big my next trade will be. In other words, the amount I risk per trade is a percentage of the account balance. And that way, if the account balance grows due to profitability, then I'm risking more on each trade, and therefore I can get bigger profits on each trade. And conversely, if the account balance goes down after taking losses, then I risk less per trade. And to me, it's a beautiful thing, actually. Mathematically, I love how the whole thing works. And given that there's these trading strategies that I have that show an edge in back tests, it's extra exciting because you can benefit a lot if you have a lot of profitable trades and you're doing a compound position sizing strategy. So let me show you. I'm on the position sizing page of the website, of the Mindful Trader website. And if you scroll down right here, I have a link so that you can download an Excel file. And I'm going to show you that right now. It's going to take a second to load. So what this is what I use. This is what I use. Every time I make a trade that I go and then I post a stock pick for, I use Excel every single time because I need to calculate the exact position size to use based on the account balance. And so I offer the Excel sheet to you so you can do it the same way. With position sizing, you can do whatever you want though. I know for sure that there are subscribers who don't want anything to do with Excel, and that's totally fine. Of course, you can position size whatever way you want. I mean, you can use the education I offer in whatever way you want. So if you follow my stock picks, you can choose whatever position sizing you want. If you learn my trading strategies so that you can kind of make your own stock choices, you can, same thing there, do whatever position sizing you want. You can buy a fixed number of shares for each trade. You could buy a fixed dollar amount for each transaction. I like this approach though. This approach allows for compounding, and that's a huge thing. If we were to go back to those back tests and not do the compounding, it would have a big effect on the overall returns. The compounding is a key element of it, and that's why I do it. And although it's like, oh, I have to open Excel to do this, it really doesn't take long. And as I'll show you right now exactly what I'm talking about. Once you get into the rhythm of it, I would be surprised if it was really taking a long time to use this Excel file to do that. So I have this Excel file open, and you can see I have stocks and futures listed here. As you may know, through my stock picking service, I actually trade and make picks for both stocks and futures. MES futures are the only futures I trade. There's just one futures ticker I trade. It's the MES futures. I've just done a ton of research on that one ticker. It's a ticker that follows or correlates with the S&P 500, which is a major market index, kind of that shows how the market overall is doing. So I do post MES futures trades in the stock pick section, and in general, I refer to the service as a stock picking service, but it also is technically, it's a stock picking and futures picking service. The large majority of the trades I make are stock trades, though. But either way, now you have you have a way to calculate what my position size would be with either one. So let's go to a specific example now. I'm going to move this off the screen to show this. This is the live positions page. This is where I post my stock picks and my futures picks. And you can see here, as of the time of this filming, I have a number of positions that are open still. And I posted a couple today. I'm filming this today on March 2nd, 2021. And I have HTHT as one example here. And you can see here I show what my entry price was, what the profit target is that I have, and what the stop loss is that I have. And I'm going to now go in and show how we can use that information. Oops, yeah, HTHT, we'll leave that at the top. Show how we can use that information in the Excel file. So there's 3 fields you input values for a stock trade if you want to know how I position size it. And again, you don't have to do this. This is just if you want to know what I would be doing. And so first is your account balance. I got to make sure this is this point is made very clearly. This is not just your total balance of some account. This is an important number. This is the amount you're willing to risk. Okay, so for example, for me, I have a variety of different personal assets. I have some very safe assets, stuff where I don't put it at risk at all. Like I need a certain amount of, say, cash on hand to make sure I can make my house payments, feed my family, stuff like that. I don't put that at risk. Then I have maybe some medium risk investments. Maybe I kind of have a long-term hold position on maybe the general stock market index or something like that. And then I have this risk profile that matches up with what I'm doing for Mindful Trader, which is high risk. It's not all my money, that's for sure. I'm not risking all my money on these trades. This is a high risk bucket. Only what you're ready to lose, like where you're willing to take a risk, a big risk, in exchange for a big potential reward. So it's important that you understand that. So I say your account balance. I'm fortunate enough that I have one account dedicated to this profile of trading. So I can indeed put my entire account balance for this one type of trade. But if you have, let's say you have a brokerage account, and in that account you have some money that's kind of tied up in some long-term hold type positions, some money that you're going to need to pay your rent next month or pay for your house payment or something like that, don't include those amounts in your account balance. This is the account balance you're willing to use for this type of trading. So it's really important that you understand that. So again, if you happen to have an account dedicated to these types of trades, then it is incidentally your entire account balance for that one, kind of high risk profile account. But if you don't and it's mixed, then you need to figure out what's the amount within the mixed account that you're willing to risk. And it's really important that you understand that if you're using this calculator. So you input that amount, whatever that is, and that's on you to figure that out. Then you enter the stock alert price. That is the price I bought it for. So in the case of HTHT, I indicated on my stock pick, I bought it for $56.97. So we're going to punch that in. You may buy it for a totally different price, which is fine. If you choose to buy HTHT for any reason, you might get a totally different price. Don't put your price in here if you want to know what my position approach would be. So if you want to know my position sizing approach, you would put the price I bought it for. And I put stock alert price, meaning, hopefully that, helps you remember I'm talking about the price that I alerted that I bought it for when I posted the stock pick. And then the stop loss amount is right here, 51.73. Let's punch it in. And you can see as I punch it in, it's automatically calculating these amounts. So if I had a $5,000 account balance and I saw this stock pick right here, HTHT, and I decided, you know what, this one, I like this one. I want to make this trade myself. I would punch this in and I would go in and I would, if I decided, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing Eric's doing on his position size, and I'm going to do that on my side for my account size. You would buy 9 shares. Again, you don't have to. Keep in mind, I I am not risk averse. I'm willing to take a risk. And again, I'm using funds dedicated for taking a risk. So the the risk kind of profile that I have for me personally, like my risk aversion, may be much different than yours. You have to look at your own self and determine what sort of appetite you have for risk. I have a decent appetite for risk. So if you don't feel like you have that sort of an appetite, you can use this other feature. I have this thing that automatically calculates what would half of my position size be in this scenario, and so you can use that instead. You'll notice that like half the position size, I didn't put 4.5. I just, whenever there was a decimal behind the number, I rounded down to the nearest whole share. So that's why it does it that way. I want to also talk about how this position size that I just indicated to you that I do, how it relates to the compound position sizing. So basically when I post a stock pick, specifically for stocks, I almost always have it set up where if the price of the stock were to hit the stop loss and take me out at that exact price, my account balance would go down by 1%. And so that's how I size positions. It's as a percentage of the account balance. And it's different than what maybe some other people do, or maybe what you're used to. So I don't do it as, I don't set a stop loss based on, oh, did the stock price go down 10% or something like that. I go based on what stop loss would it take where I would lose 1% of my account balance if the stop loss were hit. And that's how I position size. I also factor in recent volatility. But basically what the takeaway of that is that if your stop loss gets hit on the nose and you're out at that price, you can expect your account balance would go down about 1% for almost all of my stock picks. For futures picks, it ranges, and it's typically between 0.5% and 2%. It just depends on the exact futures pick. But I wanted you to be aware of that. I think the question comes up a lot where people are asking, how exactly am I figuring out these stop loss values? And that's the way to think of it, is how is your account value, your account balance, going to be affected if you take a stop loss? That's what I want to, that's what I try to control, basically. It's a good way to control risk. For one, you always know your risk is just 1% of your account value if the stop loss were to get hit on the nose and you get taken out at that price. But it also is exactly the type of a formula needed to make sure you're using a compound position sizing approach, because essentially you're always risking a percentage of your account balance. There's another important thing I want to tell you, which is that this account balance figure, it's not your available cash balance. Okay, this is the total amount of funds or resources you have, whether or not some of them are tied up in stock positions or futures positions that you're willing to risk. And so let me give you an example here. Okay, so let's say that you decided you wanted to buy HTHT, all right? And so you have that in your portfolio, and let's say that the price of it has gone up in such a way that now you have a $100 profit on that position. So your account balance is now $5,100, right? You still might have that HTHT position open, but your account balance would be now $5,100 due to that unrealized profit that you have in the position. And now let's say you come in and you say, you know what, I want to buy AVB. I see it on the stock pick list and I would like to buy it. And so you're going to go in and calculate, okay, how am I going to size my position? I think I want to do half of what Eric does, so I need to calculate this. And so you enter the stock alert price for AVB, which is 176.13, and the stop loss 168.01. And again, your account balance is $5,100. That's not your available cash, because you have some of your cash tied up in the HTHT position in this example. That's how you need to input the information. It's your total account balance, including positions you have open for trades you're willing to put your funds at risk to do. And I just want to say again, did you notice how quickly I was able to punch that in? I mean, it was certainly less than 60 seconds. So it's not too much work to do the position size this way. It may be a pain depending on where you are when you actually decide to make the trade, but that's for you to decide on how you want to do the position sizing. I want to say another thing, which is that if you decide that you're kind of interested in doing more than just following my stock picks and futures picks, but you'd like to learn the trade strategies, it works the same way. So even if you're doing a trade that I didn't post a pick for, I would still calculate my position size the same way. And so as you learn those various trading strategies, you can still use this position sizing spreadsheet to help you know what would I be doing with that same trade. I hope this helped. If you have questions, you can email me. It's Eric, ERIC, at mindfultrader.com. Thanks, guys.